Hey y'all, it's Angel, your best friend who happens to be a therapist. I still can't believe they talked me into doing a podcast, but here I am and here we go. I'm not gonna lie to you, we gonna talk about everything. Nothing's off limits, the good, bad, and the ugly. So put your seatbelt on and enjoy the ride. Hi friends, I am back. It's your best friend that happens to be a therapist to talk about something serious today. So, with all of the Diddy allegations and things and videos and, people and, not just him. I mean, there are a lot of things coming out about a lot of people that we have seen on TV, have heard on the radio for years and years and years. And then, things coming out about people that are really behind the scenes, right? So I'm really going to say about the Me Too movement, right? The Me Too movement kind of opened the door for the truth to come out from places that was held in secret for a long time. So I said all that to say, I want to talk about abuse. So you know me, I don't want to come on here to talk about whether, about really the abusers. If you went to my website, you know that I am a solution-focused therapist. SFT is my jam. That's my thing. I am here I rather focus on the solution, identify the problem, and then we're going to move toward a solution, right? Because I don't really like living in the past. Addressing the past is important, but moving forward is more important, right? For me, it's my personal preference. That's just the way I work. So with that being said, instead of focusing on the abusers, I would like to focus on what to do, right? So let's talk about what is abuse. Abuse is when someone is trying to or has gained some power over you, and they use various different types of abuse. So, there's physical abuse, which is the most common one that a lot of people are aware of, have seen, have heard of, have witnessed, have experienced. It's physical violence, right? Physical force that is unwanted. And then there's sexual abuse. No means no, right? I made a little reel about boundaries and no being a complete sentence and you're not having to justify it. No means no. And what I want to remind people of is sexual abuse is not just, rape of a stranger. It is also can be rape within a relationship, whether you're dating or whether you're married, because no means no. Even if that is your wife or husband of, 20 years, when he or she says no, that means fucking no. You still cannot force yourself on that person. That is still considered sexual abuse. Emotional abuse. AKA gaslighting, right? Gaslighting is a whole big thing. It's a whole big movement. I hear people use that word a lot. And it really just means emotional abuse. It's when someone is trying to control your environment. We'll get a little into that a little bit later. Where they do things, to make you feel like to question yourself, to make you unsure of yourself. So they may hide things from you and then tell you that, oh no, you knew what you did with this, kind of, making you feel like you're crazy, like you tripping. Like you're like, well, wait a minute, am I tripping? When you start asking yourself, is it me? Am I tripping? You might want to listen to this podcast and go over go through the list of red flags, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Another part of emotional abuse is humiliation, right? Whether it's public or private. Humiliation is humiliation. It doesn't have to happen in front of other people for you to feel humiliated. It can be a private one-on-one thing that they are forcing you to do or asking you to do or guilting you into doing or saying something that you really don't want to do. Blaming you for everything. That is a form of emotional abuse. Like, one person is not responsible for every damn thing, okay? And so if someone is trying to make you feel like or accuse you of being responsible for everything, it's definitely emotional abuse. Manipulation of any kind, right? Accusing you of cheating when you know good and damn well you're not cheating and you're not even leaving no crumbs or hints or tips to make them feel like that. Lying or lying on you or accusing you of lying. And you're like, wait a minute, like this is ridiculous, right? All emotional abuse. And then there's verbal abuse where that person is degrading you, telling you ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit, or that you're stupid, or, you just don't get it because you're just not intelligent enough, right? Like, or excessively yelling. That is also a form of verbal abuse. Now, yes, people raise their voice and they yell. That's not verbal abuse. It's when it's excessive, right? And, excessive is overboard. And then there's another form of abuse that I don't think people consider enough, which is financial abuse, right? Where someone is making you dependent on them, or they're using finances as a form of control. Anything that someone uses to try to control you is abuse, right? Because the ground definition of abuse is gaining control over another person or thing, okay? Well, not really thing. I guess you can control things, but when I say things, I'm thinking of like other living beings like animals, because people, of course, abuse animals as well. So these are all the different types of abuse. Now I want to go into red flags. So if you're dating someone, or you're talking, not even dating, but talking to somebody, or someone's telling you about somebody they're talking to, or in a relationship with, or in a marriage. Now, mind you, females are not the only ones who are getting abused out here in these streets. Men are also victims of abuse. They're just least likely to report it. However, it still happens. So this message is not just for females. This message is for human beings, period. Okay? Just want to make that clear. All right. Red flags. The person tries to control your behavior, right? Where they say things like, I don't like the way you say that, or maybe you shouldn't do that anymore. Right? And it starts off very small. All of these red flags start off small. Even some of them you may think it's cute, right? Especially in the beginning. So like another red flag is call you or text you a lot, right? That's a form of control. Like even though, when you're dating someone and it's new and it's fresh and they're texting you all day, or they're calling you to check in all the time, in the beginning, it appears cute, right? But if it continues and it becomes excessive, it's not so cute anymore. It becomes a red flag. Blames you for their behavior. That is another red flag, where they're like, look at what you made me do. Why did you make me do that? If you wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't have done this. Right? Or they'll say, well, we'll get there. We'll get to that next. Look, I kind of jump ahead. My brain be moving faster than my mouth sometimes. So y'all have to excuse me. Is obsessed with your relationship, right? So another word for that is codependent, where they're like, I can't do anything without you. I can't live without you. You're my everything. And that's why I said some of these things sound cute and can be romantic, right? For someone to say, oh, you're my everything. I would do anything for you. I would die for you, right? It's cute figuratively, okay? But literally, It is not, because you should not want to kill yourself if I no longer want this relationship. That is not a healthy response. That is a very emotional, abusive response. When they take ownership over you, where they say, well, that's like, I can't live without you, or you're mine. And, like, again, that can be perceived as cute in the beginning. And it is, as long as they mean it figuratively and not literally. And you will know the difference. First of all, you're going to feel the difference. Your instincts are going to tell you whether this person means that shit literally or figuratively, right? Like, that you belong to them, like you're mine, right? Like, that is, first of all, slavery is over in the US of A. And pray to God that we do not go back there. So humans don't own humans, okay? If they are criticizing you, whether they're criticizing your looks, the way you dress, your decisions, the people that you're hanging around, and saying, oh, you shouldn't be hanging with that person. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing it. Because, that's also a form of control where they try to isolate you. Isolation is another red flag, where they start trying to pick your friends for you, or tell you, they don't want you really to hang out with your family, or they start to get jealous because you're with your friends or your family. And it's like, whoa, this is my family. Like, it should be okay for me to hang out with my family. Now, of course, if you're with your friends 20 hours out of the 24 hours of the day, then, they might have an argument there, right? And you need to kind of self-reflect. But we're talking about, nothing excessive like that. So that's isolating, and they try to isolate you from your friends or your family. Tell you who your friends are. I already mentioned that. Accuse you of cheating, even though, like I said, you haven't left any tips or crumbs around for them to even think that. Or if they anger easily, right? If they're easily angered, and then they put it on you to say, well, don't do that anymore because I'm gonna get angry. Like they make it your responsibility to make sure that they don't get angry, because anger is something that you as an individual are responsible for. The outside world is not responsible for your behavior and your actions. You are only responsible for those. So if they try to make you responsible for their behavior, that's a huge red flag. If you're scared of them because they have threatened you, or whatever they have done, you are scared of them. That is a red flag. That is a flag that says I might be in an abusive relationship. We already talked about humiliation. If they humiliate you in private or public, it doesn't matter which one. And if they have a history of abuse, whether they were abused themselves, especially as children, and then grew up to kind of repeat that pattern. Because generational cycles it's a real thing. Or if they have a past history of abusing others and they're like, oh, I did that in my past, I don't do that anymore. I would say would be a yellow flag. But if you see any of these other red flags, then we're going to go ahead and make that red, because I do believe that people can change. People can change. Change is possible. So I don't want you to think just because they have a history of it that it's not possible for them to change. It is. However, if you see any of these other red flags with this one, then it's not yellow, it's red, okay? Now, those are some of the main red flags. I can't name them all. We will be here all freaking day. So I'm going to move on to what you can do, right? So what can you do if you know someone is getting abused, okay? You can listen to them. One of the things that, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but you don't want to tell them to leave that person for a couple of reasons. One, they should do it with a professional who will get to how to leave. I am going to talk about, if you are someone who is being abused and you're hearing this message, I am going to give you some information on how to leave in a safe way, what to do. But if you are the friend on the outside looking in, don't be like, what you doing there? Why are you still there? You need to leave. You need to get the hell out of there. Because that could be putting them in more danger. One. Another reason why that is not such a great idea is because that abuser is more than likely telling them not to be talking to you in the first place. And so all you're going to do in that moment is play into the reasons why their abuser has told them you shouldn't be talking to that person. And so that could possibly push them away even more. But something else that you can do, right, is that you can tell them that it's not their fault. Remind them all the time it's not their fault, that they don't deserve that, and that you care about them. Encourage them to get help. Encourage them to call the domestic violence abuse help hotline, which I'm going to give that number in a minute. Actually, I'll give it now. It is 1-800-600-SAFE. And share information with them. So if you know someone or you think someone is in an abusive relationship, share this podcast with them so that they can hear the red flags and say, how many of these am I experiencing? Right? So share information, share reels with them, memes with them, social media things with them. Y'all do that all day. Y'all send funny memes. So go ahead and send some educational ones that you feel may be helpful to your friend or associate. And share resources. If you witness any type of abuse, you need to go ahead and call 911. For sure, hands down. Now, if you are a friend or an associate of the abuser, I'm talking to you. Yes, that is. Abusers have friends. Just for those that are thinking, what? I wouldn't be friends with nobody that treat nobody like that. Abusers have friends and they have associates. They have coworkers. And if they feel like they are possibly an abuser, some things that you can do is tell them that it's not okay. Tell them that it's not healthy. Tell them that, change is possible. And don't laugh or minimize when they tell you a story of something that they've done that has humiliated someone else. Because a bully is an abuser, right? And so bullies have friends, and those friends are doing it with them, or they're laughing and encouraging them in that way. Don't be one of those people. Don't minimize their behavior. Don't laugh at them. Encourage them to get help. Send them some memes and reels of abuse and hope and pray that one day the light bulb goes off and they say, oh, I think I might be, in this category. And remind them of the consequences that, abusing someone else has, that someone can lose their life. Because I don't even want to get into the statistics, but Google the domestic violence statistics and see just how many people die from domestic violence. So it is real. It is a real thing. So those are the things that you can do if you know someone that is an abuser. So for the people out there that are trying to get out of the relationship that you feel is abusive, I want you to call 1-800-600-SAFE, or you can call 1-800-799-7233. You can also text the word begin to the number 8878. Now, I don't recommend you text, because if you are in an abusive relationship, your abuser is checking your phone. Okay? And if you want to call these numbers, if I were you, I would call from work or call from a friend's phone. Or if you do call from your phone, delete that history, because your abuser is 100% checking your shit, your text messages, your call logs, your internet search history. If they're doing any of that stuff, that is definitely a red flag, right? And emotional abuse. I also recommend, if you are in an abusive relationship, have a code word with someone outside of that relationship that knows that you are being abused, so that, and it's really a code word for danger, that you need help. And it can be something simple, like, we'll use like bananas is one, and say, hey, when you went to the store today, by any chance, did you happen to pick up any bananas? Something to let the other person know, hey, I'm in danger. I need you to call 911 because I'm terrified for my life. Or signal, like if you're on FaceTime with somebody, and these are just things that you can come up with your friends, when you do get a chance to hang out with your friends, when they do allow you to do that. And I am saying allow, because that's what it's like when you're in an abusive relationship. And if you're on FaceTime with your friend, maybe you can come up with like a hand gesture or something that will physically tell that other person you are in danger. So come up with these codes with someone in your life that knows that you're not in the healthiest relationship and that you're scared. Okay. And that you might need help one day. And if you do, let's come up with a code, so that the abuser won't know, but you will know to call 911 and send help. Okay. When you are ready to leave. Now, one of the things about domestic violence is that on average, it takes a person 7 cycles of leaving and coming back to actually leave. Because, there are a lot of people, that experience abuse. And it's really unfortunate, truly. But what I want you all to know is that you can get out. So when you are ready to get out, I want you to call the hotline. Yep. That's what you're going to do. You're going to call the domestic violence hotline, 1-800-600-SAFE or 1-800-799-7233. You're going to call them. They're open 24/7. You're going to call them and you're going to tell them that you're ready. And they're going to link you with some resources that are local to you. And that resource is going to give you an advocate. And that advocate is going to walk you through step by step on the safest way possible to leave based on your situation. I don't want to go through those steps because those steps change based on how severe your situation is. So call the number. If you recognize any of these flags and you are scared to leave, call the number. There is help out there that I want everybody to access. I'm not going to lie. Abuse is a real thing. It is a common thing. And it is something you can work through. It is something you can change. It is something that you can beat. And when you are ready, those people on those hotlines are ready to help. So please use them. Please send this to somebody who you think would benefit from them. You know what? If you don't even know any of that, if you have a teenager, because this abuse starts in teenage years for a lot. I'm telling you, Google the stats. I'm not going to sit here and go through the stats, but Google the stats. If you have a teenager this is a good podcast for them to listen to because their friends might be going through this. They might be going through this. Yes, I know if you are a parent listening, you like, my child ain't going through this, I would know. Sometimes you don't know. But what you can do is you can equip them with the tools necessary for them to be able to identify it and the steps for them to take to do something about it. So if nothing else, it would just be an educational tool, or it might save their life. So please, pass it, share it, and peace and blessings, y'all. Until next time. Thanks for listening to I'm Not Gonna Lie to You podcast. Subscribe for more insightful and down-to-earth content. And don't forget to follow us on social media at An Angel's Touch 8 on Instagram and An Angel's Touch Therapy on Facebook.